Hello, friends. Welcome to today's daily devotion. I'm Kerry Wood, pastor of the Goldston Methodist Church in Goldston, North Carolina, and we are looking at Jesus the Stranger during this Lenten season in cooperation with Seedbed and the Daily Wake Up Call. Subscribe to the Wake Up Call if you haven't already. There is a link in the description box. Go ahead and make use of that resource as well. We are now looking at Jesus as he is ever closer to being hung on the cross. And while we're not quite yet into Holy Week, that last week between Palm Sunday and Easter, we are very close, and that's why we are reading these scriptures at the conclusions of the Gospels. We're continuing in the Gospel of Matthew today in chapter 26, picking up where we left off yesterday in verse 69 and reading through verse 75. Go grab your Bible, open it up to Matthew 26, and let us share in these words together. Now Peter was sitting out in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him. "You also were with Jesus of Galilee," she said. But he denied it before them all. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Then he went out to the gateway, where another servant girl saw him and said to the people there, "This fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth." He denied it again with an oath, "I don't know the man." After a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, "Surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away." Then he began to call down curses, and he swore to them, "I don't know the man." Immediately, a rooster crowed. Then Peter remembered the words Jesus had spoken. "Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." And then Peter went outside and wept bitterly. Two figures besides Jesus stand out here in these closing days of Jesus' earthly life. Simon Peter, whose story we picked up here today, and Judas Iscariot, the one who betrayed Jesus. Both of these men had tremendous failures. Their hearts failed, their spirits failed, their minds deceived them, and they got themselves caught up in the place where they did horrible wrongs to the man they had both professed to love and to follow with all they had. Peter here is denying Jesus in front of people that you would think really wouldn't matter. Servant girls. These are the lowest of the lows in the hierarchy of their society. Why is Peter so caught up in denying Jesus to them? Well, I think it's because he got so caught up in the fear factor that became the only factor that mattered to him in those moments. I have to admit that there have been times in my life when a fear factor has so influenced me that I have fallen prey to that emotion and have done things that in my right mind I would never have done. And that's exactly where Peter is. He doesn't mean to deny Jesus, but he does in the heat of the moment. So what do we do with his story? Well, I think we can take it as both a warning and an encouragement. The warning is this can happen to anybody. Peter was the most devout follower of Jesus. Peter was the one who first declared that Jesus was indeed the Messiah, the Holy One of God. Peter was the one who was leading all the rest of his disciple brothers in following Jesus, and Peter denied Jesus. It can happen to anybody. But as we move forward with Peter's story, we see the big difference between Peter and Judas. Judas gave up. Peter gave in. The post-resurrection Jesus restores Peter, loves Peter so powerfully, so strongly that Peter is restored into the fellowship and he becomes a true, faithful follower of Jesus even more. Friends, you and I have this hope. Even when we mess up, Jesus restores, Jesus forgives. And I'll see you tomorrow for our next daily devotion.